Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining the Live in Divine Harmony podcast. I'm Karmen, your divine synergist of Heart's Joy. I'm an awakened person of purpose, a spiritual life coach. I have a passion for life. I'm an author, a podcast host, and a numerologist. In this week's episode on the podcast, we're going to talk about your purpose, the one thing that people most miss when understanding what their purpose is, and a little energy update as well. So for those of you who are joining, be sure to share in the comments any questions, feedback, and let's get this party started. Be sure to like and follow and always subscribe so you never miss another episode. So you've probably heard me talk a lot about purpose. The Live on Purpose course is where you will understand truly why you're here and how to live that purpose. So one of the main questions I get when people take the course or even ask me about purpose is, well, Karmen, I believe that I'm here to help others. And to that I say, yes, and you actually have a larger, in my opinion, purpose than to help other people. And here's why I say that. There's lots of different things that I can do to help people. I can plan events. I can be a spiritual guide, a spiritual coach. I can help people with their marketing, social media marketing, all things marketing, just to name a few things. I could be a virtual assistant. There's probably 5 or 6 different things that I could do to make a living that would also help other people. And what happens is we get our job, or what I call our vehicle, confused as to why we're really here. The other thing that I've noticed is not only is there that confusion about the vehicle or about the job, is that's solely what we're focused on. We have wrapped our identity around that job. We often ask, oh, so what do you do for a living? And if you've ever asked me that, you will know and watch me cringe anytime I'm asked that or I hear it being asked of other people. Because I believe that we weren't on this earth just to work, just to have a career. We were created on purpose and for a purpose. And at some point, you'll start to understand that larger, bigger purpose that you were here for. So yes, it's to help other people and take that to the next level. I call it being boots on the ground for God. Okay. The other thing, when you just say, well, I'm simply here to help other people as a purpose. When things start to get rough, when you wake up and you're frustrated and you don't have clarity and you just want to throw in the towel, if your purpose is not strong enough, your why is not strong enough, you are just going to say, you know what, never mind, I'm not going to do this anymore. Think back of how many times you have hit a brick wall and you just said, you know what, this isn't worth the headache. It's not worth the time. I'm not going to do this anymore. When you think back to that particular time and what it was, ask yourself, was your why strong? What was your purpose for doing said item? So it's got to be a strong why and a strong purpose. Now, in my experience, your why shifts and changes as you shift and change. So initially, what I thought my purpose was to launch this event, which I'm working on, and it was to help people discover their purpose. And then as I started to work on the event, I started to realize, oh no, I'm here to actually disrupt the church industry. So it shifted. It's still going to get the same outcome. It just got bigger, because I believe that if you were to know everything at one time or have all of that information given to you at one time and in a particular time, that you may not move forward with it because it freaks us out. because it's such a strong purpose. And it's like you just know in your gut, right? That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Notice I say doing, because we as a society here in America have wrapped around our focus so much that it has to be something that we earn a living at. So I'm all about earning a living. And I don't even know if I want to call it earning a living, because it's truly living intentionally and creating that life that you love, whatever that life looks like, because it's going to look different for everyone. And there's one missing piece that I even didn't talk about for the first several years as I was talking about purpose, that we just kind of forget about. And really, another part of our purpose is joy. It's to enjoy life. It's to experience joy. I've been saying, find your joy. And it's not so much find because it wasn't lost, it's rediscovering that joy. And what I've learned is that that joy really comes from being that childlike you, that some of us haven't healed yet or fully healed yet. And I feel like that's why we are, I just keep hearing hard pressed. It's hard for us to rediscover that joy, that joyfulness in ourselves, because there's some pain that goes along with that we haven't healed yet. And so sometimes we also think that it's selfish for us to experience that kind of joy. Think about that maybe it's too selfish that I'm so happy. And also, when I'm happy, people are like, well, what are you happy for? What happened? Why? Why do I have to have an excuse to be happy? So, where are you right now in the spectrum of this conversation? Where do you find yourself falling right now? Some people will say, my purpose is to be a mother. Awesome. Absolutely. And what else? I would say, and what else? Do you find joy in motherhood? Where are you finding your pockets of joy? What does that look like for you? And I'm not here to tell you that you're right or you're wrong. That's too 3D. The goal is for you to understand that your purpose is not so much about doing. Don't get wrapped up into the value that you have value if you don't do. There's a lot of value in being. The divine feminine is the beingness. It's actually creation as well. But we've been so focused on the doing culture. And I mentioned at the end of 2022, I believe it was, that the hustle culture is going away. Why do you think that is? Well, the reason why it's going away is because everything's shifting. The energies are shifting. I've even decided to not network like I used to. In some cases, it doesn't feel authentic, depending on the networking event and how it's run. And do I still take action? Yes, it's just going to look different based on where I am at that time, because I'm shifting from the doing back into the beingness. Now, this plays in with the current energies, because as of March 7th, I believe it was, Saturn entered Pisces. And this is going to go on for several years, that Saturn will be in Pisces. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, one, it is impacting every one of us, and it's going to impact everyone differently. And then layer upon that based on where you are in your spiritual journey right now. So Pisces, the sign of Pisces, is it's a go with the flow, harmony, water sign, very airy fairy, spiritual. It doesn't want to be nailed down. Saturn is a ruler, if you will, and says, you need to do this on this day. It's very stringent. I'm trying to figure out how else to explain this. It can be controlling, very much like everything needs to be in place and be organized. So it's putting stipulations around the Pisces energy. And the Pisces is just kind of like, I just want to go with the flow, right? So you've got the masculine energy of do, and it's got to be organized. And then the powerful energy of Pisces, both are powerful energies, by the way. It's the yin and yang that we're playing with right now, and that we're going to be playing with. And if you remember back to the March energy, numerology and energy update, I talked about how this whole month of March is going to be changes and shifts. And we're getting ready to have another huge shift here at the new moon coming up. And now you have Pisces or Saturn in Pisces. And by the way, just because these events happen on one day or 2 days doesn't mean that that's the only day that you're going to feel that energy. Because let me tell you, this is going to set the tone for the next 20 years, 10 years. This is a long-term energy that we're moving into. And you get to choose during these times what frequency you're going to be in. And I bring this up because almost every person I talk to, one of the comments that they make to me is people are freaking crazy right now. What is going on? Like they're asking me, do I know what's happening? Or with the financial collapse, I got a text message the other day, Karmen, what do you think is going to happen? Well, I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to bounce right back. And I think it's a huge part of the learning lesson. And it doesn't surprise me when it's happening. The fact that it's happening in Saturn and Pisces, it doesn't surprise me at all. Now, do I have any idea what this is going to look like for everybody? Absolutely not. I do know, though, that I have a power to choose my choice. And I have the power to choose, am I going to be angry about it? Am I going to be fearful about it? Am I going to be upset about it? Am I going to be frustrated? Am I going to think, oh my gosh? Or am I going to be smart about it and say, okay, here's the reality. And I'm going to focus on doing what I can, doing what's within my control, continue to live my purpose, continue to be of service, being in contribution, knowing who I am, knowing what I stand for, knowing what my values are, and not allowing others to project onto me and me not to project onto other people as well. Because those are two totally different energies that you're working with. And we get to choose. That's the beauty of it, is we have the power to choose our perspective. That was last week's podcast, perspective. We have the power to make a meaning out of whatever it is. And so often we've been told, no, we don't have that power, that power is outside of us. And that's simply not the case. So many people have wanted their power over us instead. And so they led us to believe that we had no power. So we gave it up. We didn't choose our choice anymore. I actually did a podcast on that, choose your choice. You can look it up. It's a great podcast to really understand what I'm saying when I talk about choose your choice. So today, just ask yourself, where are you right now falling in the spectrum? Are you freaking out about the collapse? By the way, what are you following on social media? Are you following a lot of doomsdayers or love and light, which is false too, because you've got to look at the reality and notice, where is your frequency? So if you're only here to spread love and light, then are you even acknowledging what's truly happening? Are you being authentic with yourself and saying, yes, I understand that there's a collapse. I understand that people are hurting, right? So how can you understand it and hold space for that and still be in that higher frequency? I talked about timelines a few weeks ago, and somebody's had asked me about timelines, not understanding what that means. You can shift timelines if you haven't already. You can be in a different timeline than somebody else. Again, it's all based on what your frequency is. What do I mean by that? What I mentioned earlier. What are you focused on? Whatever your frequency is, whatever you're emitting, right, is what you're going to be attracted to. It's the people who you're going to be attracted to. So again, your outer world, look around you. What does your outer world look like? That's what you are attracting in. There was 1 week where I received blessing after blessing after blessing after blessing. And every time I said thank you, it didn't matter how big or small it was. I just said thank you. And I'm appreciative of every little blessing that I received. I was shocked, right? And so thankful for every little blessing as they kept coming in. So that told me that where my energy frequency is, and then it started to shift the outer world and what was being attracted to me. So when we talk about everything is energy, everything is truly energy. And you have the power to create what energy frequency you want to be at. And these all do flow together. Because I feel like so often when we are living our purpose, I know when I'm living my purpose, I am living in a higher timeline. I'm living intentionally. I'm living my purpose. That's how I can tell where I am. And even though Saturn may be in Pisces or a retrograde may be happening or something else is happening in the others, doesn't mean that it has to take me down. It just allows me the opportunity to work and harness with those energies. Instead of lowering my energy frequency, I'm blaming and putting myself in victim. So, is the economic collapse scary? Yes, it's probably the first one that a lot of us have been through. Not me, because I feel like I've been maybe through 2 or 3 before this. Just more as a kid, and really not so much as an adult. Be wise. Critical think. What are your next steps? What makes sense for you? And again, how can you continue to live your purpose, be in service, and find your joy? Because that is going to be huge over the next several years, is truly anchoring into the energy, the frequency of joy. I hope that this has helped you. If you would like to continue the conversation, join us in the Creating a Life You Love free online community. I will leave the link below. It's also hearts-joy.mn for mindynetworks.co. That's where I'm going to start to spend a lot of my time in there. So I hope I will see you in there soon. I look forward to hearing from you, connecting with you, sending you much love.